On the last video we talked about the existence of lots of different kinds of leashes. Today we are going to talk about what each one is used for. Welcome to my office. My name is Diogo Moura and I'm a professional dog trainer. This is Material Breakdown. Let's talk about leashes. Let's start talking about belt leashes. These are my favorite type of leash for everyday use. They are usually made from nylon or leather and they can go all the way from 20 centimeters to 20 meters long. They are very light and comfortable to use, and if you subscribe, I might show you some tricks to use them more effectively on a later video. They are great everyday use leashes, mainly the ones between 1 and 3 meters long, and there is where the 2 meters long that everyone on the internet is recommending comes from. If you need a really long leash, there are honestly better options, but for everyday use, just walking in the city and going to the dog park, these are the ones that I rather use. Then you got mountain climbers. They are supposed to be made of rock climbing ropes, which sounds very secure. However, they can be made from any kind of rope. They tend to be cheaper to manufacture than belt leashes, and therefore cheaper to buy. But that's all they have going for them. They have the same uses as belt leashes, however, they are a little bit heavier and less comfortable. And they usually don't come in longer than 2 meters. You should pay attention to store these leashes dry, because if they are stored wet, the rope's fibers in the middle can start to rot. What about metal chain leashes? They are the most durable, right? Well, yes, but they are very uncomfortable and heavy. They are really heavy. Since they are so heavy, they usually come in short length, rarely over 1 meter. They have a very specific purpose, however, and that purpose can justify carrying all that weight. They are the ones that you should use if your dog chews on the leash. It does not damage the dog teeth, and you can be 1,000,000% sure that your dog will not chew through it. Of course, using these leashes does not substitute training, but it can help get around this problem. If you are a fan of personalization, macrame and braided leashes are for you. Just know that they are made for looks, and they are probably not the most comfortable nor the most secure. So, use them in dogs that do not pull and do not chew. They are an easy-to-do-yourself project, and kids, if you are listening, it's a good gift that you can do to your pets. Lastly, on the category of fixed-length leashes, you got spring leashes and the very similar stretch leashes. They are very similar to the leashes previously mentioned, but they have some sort of spring. They are slightly heavier and depending on the design, they can be less comfortable to hold. But they absorb pulls, so they got that going for them. Just be careful not to hold directly on the metal springs or you can bruise your hands. And know that you can use add-on spring extensions to any leash. Let's jump to a different category, extendable leashes. They usually have a maximum length between 2 and 40 meters, so they can be as short as you want, or get really long. Now, you need to hear this. They are not made for everyday use. They are meant to walk your dog in quiet open spaces. That means very few people, very few dogs, trees and buildings, and lots of space to move around. First, make sure that the leash that you are using/buying is appropriate to your dog's size. These leashes got springs inside that can easily break if your dog pulls a lot. Be also careful not to drop the top part of your leash, not only because the plastic case can break, but mostly because of those springs. And if your dog pulls, this leash is not for you. The way the handle transfers the forces to your hand, it's all concentrated on this part of the wrist, which is uncomfortable and unsecure. The line is usually just a string or a thin belt. So if your dog bites the leash, it is also not secure. All the complex mechanisms inside this case makes them expensive, heavy and fragile. They are also frequently misused, but more on that on a future video. So you want to make sure that you don't miss the next video? Subscribe then. Now you can be sure that you are using the correct kind of leash when you go out with your dog. And I'll see you next video.